Hi, I'm Randy Blazer with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, and I'm at my home office in Gurnee, and I'm here today with Robert Monahan. Bob is an attorney in Gurnee, and we're just going to talk a little bit with Bob today and get to know him. How you doing, Bob?
I'm great, Randy, and I want to thank you for having me on your show. I think it's a great thing you're doing, interviewing local business people like me and others.
Oh, well, thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. Hey, so if we get started, Bob, where did you grow up and go to school? Tell us a little bit about your background.
I grew up in Waukegan. So I
Great.
grew up in Waukegan. That's the county seat of Lake County,
Right.
and I went to Carmel High School in Mundelein for high
Okay.
school. And
Okay.
before that, though, I went to Jack Benny Junior High School,
Oh, wow.
which is in
Jack Benny.
Waukegan. Yes, it's
Okay.
actually the only junior high school named after a comedian that I
Well,
know about.
that's a good thing to know.
It's the football team or the sports teams were called the 39ers, okay?
Yes,
Because
because
when Jack Benny was asked how old he was, he always said he's
he's
39 years old.
39. Right, right. So, from there, where'd you go to law school?
Well, after that, let me tell you this. I went to college because I'm kind of proud of this. I'm a
Okay.
Maroon. So I went
Oh,
to the University of Chicago for college.
the original monsters of the Midway.
Yes, it's where fun goes to die. And it was fun. I mean, the University of Chicago gets a bad rap. It's gothic. In the winter it's cold and dreary, but I got a great education there, and from there I went to a really fun school, and that was the
Huh?
University of Virginia for law
Ah,
school.
okay. University of Virginia, founded by Thomas Jefferson, and among
Yeah,
its
that's
many,
right. That's right. That was his proudest accomplishment. i
yes,
think I think like three things are on his gravestone. One is that he wrote the Declaration of Independence.
right?
Two is that he founded the University of Virginia, and I can't remember the third.
I,
Maybe those are the two. Maybe
no,
those
I
are the
think
two things.
something about being president. So,
They oh,
maybe.
I don't know if that figured in. I really don't.
Uh,
But I know that UVA and the Declaration did figure in on his
yes,
gravestone. Yes, his
yes.
headstone.
And one of the more famous graduates of the law school was Robert F. Kennedy, former Attorney General.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, you're in good company.
Oh yeah, yeah. UVA. So University of Virginia is where I mean, University of Chicago is really where fun went to die,
Mhm.
and UVA was just a completely different experience.
Right.
Um, my law school experience was almost more enjoyable than my college experience, just because it was just such a nice lifestyle.
Hmm.
The climate of Virginia is great. The
Right.
scenery is
It's
great.
right.
Charlottesville, Virginia is great. So
Beautiful
I
town.
actually enjoyed my law school time.
Okay. So why'd you decide to become a lawyer?
You know, it's funny, man. I know you were a reporter
Right.
once upon a time,
Right.
and I had the idea that I'd be a reporter for the longest time. And I actually thought in college I would either become a reporter, a teacher,
Okay.
or a lawyer.
Or a lawyer.
That's right. I think there's a Ben Franklin quote that says either write something about what's worth doing or do something that's worth writing about.
Oh,
Have you
I
ever
haven't
heard
heard
that
that
quote?
one.
It's
That
Ben
sounds good.
Franklin.
I'll
Yeah,
use it.
do something worth writing about or write about something worth doing. Something like that anyway.
Okay.
But anyway, I was always kind of a good communicator, a good writer, and I thought I would do something kind of either teaching kids or reporting on events, or being a lawyer.
Mhm.
And I'm actually really glad I became a lawyer. The internet, as you might surmise, has really hurt local papers
Right.
um, a lot. And I actually had a friend who told me, "Don't go into teaching. Don't go into
Oh.
teaching because you'll never get tenure at any college."
Hmm.
And what did he say? He said that you'll be an adjunct for life. You'll never get any benefits. The only benefit you'll get is teaching great books and being around college kids, which is really a nice lifestyle,
Hmm.
but you'll be an itinerant adjunct professor and you won't like it. So
Hmm.
I was like, I thought it through, and I thought, well, I'll become a lawyer and do things worth writing about.
Well, good, good. And how long have you had your own practice in Gurnee?
We can't skip over my years in New York City before we. So I've
Oh.
had I've had my practice in Gurnee since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
But after graduating law school, I went to New York City
Okay.
and I lived there for 9 years.
Oh, and were you a lawyer in New York?
Oh yeah, that was
Oh,
my first job.
oh
My
wow.
first job out of law school was being a lawyer in New York City.
Wow. Well, that sounds exciting.
It was exciting. I'll tell you, New York was a great place to start,
Mm-hmm.
and it is very fun when you're young and single. Okay, so
The city that never sleeps.
the city that never sleeps is open 20. You know, you could be on the subway at 3 a.m. and there'll be like a party. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people eating
Mm-hmm.
sushi. I don't.
Yes.
It never
Yes.
sleeps. Yes, and it was really fun, and I really enjoyed my time there. And then it was like party after party. Um, in New York, it was like every year a new class of kids comes, just like college, to sort
Mm-hmm.
of make their mark and get their start in New York. And so there are always young people having fun in
Mm-hmm.
New York. However, I got married eventually. I got
Okay.
married, and then it got different because we had our first baby within a year of getting married. We had my first son.
Wow.
Yeah, and then 2 years later, we had another one, another
Wow.
boy. And we were like, you know what? This is crowded and expensive and not good for kids and kind of meaner than the
Mean
Midwest.
streets.
So we were like, we're going to move back home. And so what was keeping us there was that my wife's father was there, and we were taking care of him because he was actually dying of cancer our
Mm.
last few years there. And when he passed away, we had a talk and decided we would move here, which is kind of what I always wanted to do. I wanted to move back home and
Okay.
start a practice. So that's what I
Okay.
did.
So you can go home again.
You can, yes, you can.
Yes. Okay. Well, great. So 9 years now you've had your own practice, and what does your practice consist of, Bob? What type
So
of
I
law
do
do you
two
do?
areas. Two areas. I do
Okay.
injury work
Okay.
and estate planning.
Estate planning. Can you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about what's estate planning? Who would have need to do that? What's involved in that?
The neat thing about the two practices is that they're kind of complementary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in this sense, um, everyone needs an estate plan, no matter who you are,
Okay.
and you know you need one whether you know it or not. And the other kind of practice is the kind of thing you hope never happens to you, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the injury work.
That's the injury work.
Yeah, and the way they kind of are related only tangentially. The way I got into estate planning, I used to be a
Okay.
pure injury lawyer,
And that would be
and
if
I got it.
someone accidentally gets hurt or injured
Someone
on
gets
the
hurt in a car
job or in
accident.
an accident, they
Yeah,
need legal
that
services, they would come to you.
that would be the kind of work I only handled. That was
Uh-huh.
it. And then this one summer, I had two really sad cases. They were two young women, separate young women who were, each killed in
Oh,
accidents.
wow.
And the families came to see me for the legal help because there's a
Mhm.
wrongful death claim in each case. One young woman was hit while she was on a bicycle by a young man who was looking to his side and just veered into the side of the road and struck her on her
Oh,
bicycle and
wow.
killed
Oh,
her.
my.
Another young woman was a teenager who was in a drag race and the car flipped and
Mm.
she was killed in that accident. So there were two families that came to see me for wrongful death claims.
Mhm.
Those are injury claims.
Mhm.
And in these cases, you have to open an estate for the decedent.
I see.
So each young woman had an estate, and
Mhm.
someone had to be appointed to manage her claim for the decedent.
Mhm.
And each family asked me if I would handle that for them from soup to nuts. They wanted me to handle the whole thing. And
Mhm.
so I really had to teach myself how to handle what's called an intestate estate. Okay. An intestate estate means the person died without a will.
Okay.
Someone with a will is testate, someone without a will is intestate.
Okay.
And so what that means is you have to learn the laws of intestacy. And the laws of intestacy are interesting in that you have a will right now if you've never drafted one, and it is the will that's made by the state of Illinois
I see.
through their statutes of intestacy.
I don't
Okay,
think I
if you don't
want
have a
that.
what?
I don't think
You
I
don't
want
want
that,
that. You're
Bob.
right. You don't want that. Yes, anything from the state of Illinois you don't want anymore. I mean, it gets worse and worse. But the point is that I learned the statutes of intestacy because both of these young women died without a will, and those are the default rules that apply to you if you die without a will.
Mm-hmm.
What a will really is a way of getting yourself out of the default rules that the legislature has set up for you
Okay.
in case you die without a will. And so it's almost like you need to start with the intestate rules before you can even go on to figuring out why you need a will and what a will does for you.
Okay. So if I don't want the state of Illinois deciding what's going to happen, to my possessions and that, my estate after I die, what do I need to do?
You need to draft your will, and
Okay.
that's the
And I
first
can
step.
I can just sit down and do that, or do I need to come and see somebody?
There are, I mean, we all have heard of LegalZoom and Rocket Lawyer and those things. There's a lot of dangers in doing that, and it's pretty complicated. It's so complicated that you should see a lawyer
So
for
I'd
your
be
estate.
better off coming to see
See a
probably
lawyer. You can
Rob
see me,
Monahan.
you can see someone else, but see a lawyer for your estate.
Okay.
It's not just a simple matter of drafting a document, which is what maybe LegalZoom or Rocket Lawyer may lead
Hmm.
people to believe, that once they have their will done, I mean, first of all, drafting the four corners of the document itself can be difficult, but that's not the end of the story.
Hmm.
The craft of estate planning depends upon the interplay of not only what documents you draft, but also how the property you hold is held by you. And let me just give you
Oh,
an example, okay? So your will, it's kind of a common misconception about wills, does not affect all your property, only some of it. So you may draw up a will with LegalZoom and think, oh, it's all done, it's all taken care of, I got my will. But it only affects what's called probate property, which is kind of can be a narrow corner of everything that's important to you.
hmm. Is
Probate
there a
property is, oh, go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
I was going to ask, is there a book or anything like that might explain it?
That's such a great question, because I found that clients came to me and asked me the questions, kind of the same questions over and over again.
Hmm.
And it was a series of questions, and they were repeated over and over and over again. So Randy,
Hmm.
I took it upon myself. I took it upon myself to write a book,
Ah, there we go. Thank you,
Estate
Bob.
Planning Confidence,
Yes.
available in paperback and on Kindle on Amazon.
Okay. And
And
what's that called again, Bob? What's the name of the book?
here it is. It's called, it's
Estate
reversed
planning
on the screen, but it's Estate Planning Confidence.
confidence.
And
Okay,
the
great.
byline is protect your family, protect your legacy, get organized, and find peace of mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we knew, obviously I knew that Bob had written the book and we were going to talk about it, but
You
how
teed
could
it
how
up
could
pretty
I,
nicely, though.
yeah, how could I
I
get the
played
book?
along.
How could I get the book if I needed it, Bob?
It's available on Amazon.
On
It's
Amazon.
available on Amazon, and through Kindle and paperback. And if you want a free copy, you can just come and see me. Give me a call, and I'll send you one.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's really helpful. It can get you started. What the book really is like I said, the 49 most common questions I get about estate planning.
Hmm.
I wrote them up. I didn't quite get to 50.
Now, should
49 of the most common questions about estate
Okay.
planning.
Now, can I ask you, Bob, when should someone think about the state, planning their estate and seeing an attorney and getting this taken care of? Should they wait till they're like near retirement, or when should someone just start thinking about this?
It's really interesting. You know, I'm doing 2 powers of attorney over the Christmas break
Hmm.
for children. Practically, they've just turned 18.
Young person.
And the reason that is because when you turn 18, you have the legal status of an adult.
Hmm.
And your parents can't see your medical records or make decisions for you if you're in a terrible accident or anything like that um, anymore, now that you're an adult, without a process and procedure called a guardianship. So so for these 18-year-old kids, I'm doing powers of attorney for them for when they go to college. their families have something in place for them.
Mm, okay, so it's important.
Yeah, but there's sort of these triggers that happen in life where you would want something in place.
Hmm.
Having a baby,
Mm,
having a baby. A will appoints a guardian for you.
okay,
So, when you have a baby for your first time, your first child, you want your
okay.
estate plan set. Buying a home, buying a home. Do you want to hold that home in your own name or in trust? It's kind of the first. Buying a home or having a baby are really important triggers for young people, to think about it, because then they're like, well, for the first time, I'm an adult. I mean, you feel like an adult for the first time when these things
Right.
kind of happen to you, you
Yeah, those
know?
are definitely key markers when you start a family or buy a home.
Right, right. And then when you are dealing with your parents' will and your parents' estate, a lot of times it triggers younger people to think, I need to take care of this.
Yeah.
Really, there's really no time that, if you don't have one, like we talked about, the state of Illinois does have a plan for
Right.
you. It's really not appropriate for most families. It's this, it's the state of Illinois. It's the legislature's best guess about what someone would want, and it's not an accurate guess in a lot
Right.
of ways. So, so
Okay.
there's no bad time once you're an adult to get one. In fact,
Okay.
as soon as your status changes on your 18th birthday, then you become an adult, you should get one.
Okay. Are there any other types of law that you practice, Bob, or anything
We
else that
normally
you
do
do?
injury work. We talked about injury
Yeah, real
work, and
good.
injury work to me is totally fascinating. I
Hmm.
mean, it was the first kind of work I did. And what is fascinating about injury work is often there's this real great narrative story where it's only a good case if someone's been hurt, and if someone's been hurt through someone else's fault.
Hmm.
um, Accidents do happen, and if it's an accident where no one's really at fault, it's not really a claim that's really worth bringing.
Hmm.
But if someone's done something really bad and hurt someone through their either their negligence or their intentional behavior, um, I like that work because I come in as the lawyer in defense of someone who's been hurt through the bad guy, the bad actor.
Hmm.
Okay,
Through someone else's negligence, more
through
or less.
someone else's negligence. Now there are accidents,
Hmm.
and my favorite example of how to illustrate the difference between an accident and something worse than an accident, like negligence, is a case involving a landlord.
Hmm.
Let's say there's a landlord with a building where the light in the building in the staircase area goes out.
Hmm.
And someone falls down the staircase and gets injured. Okay. When that light went out and how many people complained about it is a big factor in whether it's negligence or an accident.
Or an accident.
If the light just went out and you came into a dark stairway and you fall down the stairs, well, if it just went out, it might be an accident,
Right. If nobody
But
knows
if
about
it,
it, or it's not reported, or no one's ever
nobody had the
told.
opportunity to fix it, nobody was on notice there was a problem.
Hmm.
However, if it had been out for weeks and people had talked to the landlord and told him, hey, this is a problem, and the landlord was not paying attention, it's
Hmm.
his job to do it. He has a duty, an affirmative duty to take care of his property, and he just ignores that duty.
Hmm.
And someone gets injured because he didn't do what he's supposed to do. He caused that injury,
Yeah.
by his negligence. So
Okay.
that's
Well, that
that's the
makes
kind of
sense.
that's
So
yeah, yeah.
it's
And again,
important
that's the
to.
kind of go ahead.
No, I was just
I
going to
actually
say,
think we
Bob.
make the world safer. I
Right.
mean, a lot of people don't like injury lawyers, and they think they're some kind of greedy, bad people.
Uh,
But we do make the world
Ambulance
safer.
chaser comes to
Ambulance
mind.
chasers, yes, ambulance chasers,
Right.
and the area is very competitive. Getting good cases is a very competitive enterprise. But with people think we're bad until they try to deal with the insurance companies without us.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
and then they're like, wait, I thought I was in good hands, but I'm really not. You
But
know,
yeah, the important thing is that we want everyone in society to do what they're responsible for, to make sure, they act as best they can to make sure everyone's
That's right. That's right.
okay. So, Bob, your office is in Gurnee, right? Where
It
is
is,
your
yeah, it's on
office?
Grove Avenue.
Mm.
I've been here probably, um, boy, I've been here, I've been in practice actually 12 years.
Okay.
And I think I've been here 9 of the 12 years. Grove Avenue is off of Delaney in Gurnee. So
Okay.
if you're at the intersection of 41 and Delaney, just go 1 block north on Delaney and there's a light and that's Grove Avenue.
Yeah,
There's a
right.
Wendy's
Right.
there and a car wash.
There's a number of offices in that little complex there,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. And Bob, if people want to learn more about the type of law you practice, or need your services, how can they reach you?
So let me tell you a couple things. First of all, my phone number is 847-848-6165. You can go to my website at monahanfirm.com. That's MONAHANFIRM.com. And
Okay.
Randy, I don't know if you know it, but I have a podcast and a
Oh,
YouTube channel.
no, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So my podcast and YouTube channel are called Everyday Law.
Everyday law.
Everyday
Okay.
Law. So the podcast is available on Apple Podcasts and Google Play and other podcast places.
Okay.
And the YouTube channel is well, where's that? That's on
Right.
YouTube. And again, it's called Everyday Law with Robert Monahan on YouTube. So if you search in the search box for Everyday Law, Robert Monahan, you'll find my podcast or my TV show on YouTube. And I really started that because in my experience and in my practice, I found that ordinary people don't like to see lawyers,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd rather see a dentist than see a lawyer. They only really will see a lawyer if they have a problem that they really can't handle themselves, and they're intimidated by it. And it's my motto that no one should be so intimidated by the law and lawyers that they fail to take steps to protect their family.
Mm-hmm.
No one should be so intimidated by lawyers that they fail to take the steps necessary to protect their family. So I wanted to draw the sting from the law, from lawyers,
Mm-hmm.
and the podcast started out by an interview show by bringing on guests. And
Okay.
I think I've almost got 100 episodes in on the podcast. So I've
Wow.
brought in lawyers, judges, politicians, lawyers of all types, sort of real estate lawyers, um, traffic case lawyers. Um, the law librarian came on once.
Oh, wow.
The judges in the different divisions have come on. Um, it was really a fun thing to do. And then, when I was promoting my radio show, I mean the podcast, I went on a TV show,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy at Comcast was like, "You could have a TV show." So I did. So I've been doing a TV show for a while,
Okay.
and since COVID has come, it's pretty much just been me on the show because I haven't thought of doing this thing you're doing, which I
Oh,
think is
via
terrific.
Zoom?
Yeah, doing it through Zoom looks terrific. Yeah,
Yeah, it does look good. So, okay. All right. Well, Bob, you're the podcasting lawyer, I guess.
the
I think,
podcast and YouTube lawyer. Yes,
yeah.
the
Thanks
podcast and YouTube lawyer with a book.
for the book. Wow, you got it all covered. So, well, thanks for joining me today, having this discussion with me. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot more about what you do, and what all of us need to do to take care of our families and that legal wise. I really appreciate it.
Randy, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I think what you're doing is a real service to the community.
Oh, thank you.
It's very much what I was trying to do, but I was in a very narrow band, just law, lawyers, and and you're just really reaching out to the community at large, and I think that's great.
All right. Well, thanks, Bob. I appreciate it,
Sure.
and have a great day.
Okay, take care, Andy.
All right.